something to consider. The most recent time that Arial have played this map, at least on broadcast in CL, has been a loss to a team that many would say are not of the caliber of Arial Arise or of One Shot in this case. So clearly Arial had some things to work out from yesterday's game, but they've had, some time to figure that out. And hopefully, or from the game 2 days ago rather. So hopefully they've had some time to work out the kinks and make something happen. We'll have to see how they approach this map. We'll have to see how they kick things off. One Shot electing to attack here on Arial Arise's map pick. Makes sense that it's Coastline. And we'll dive right in, of course, to the operator bans and see what we are dealing with. Now, as far as these operator bans go, nothing as crazy here at all. The Thatcher is a little bit more unusual considering it is Coastline, but as our analyst mentioned, the addition of VIP, there is that hard breach battle that goes on that wall, and the Thatcher is a perfect operator for the attackers to bring to alleviate that struggle. We're not going to see him in this as usual, nor will we see the Lion, the Valkyrie, or the Mira.
Yeah, all these bans pretty stock standard for a Coastline. If there's anyone that's going to be banned on Coastline that'll be watching the flanks, it's either the Nomad or the Lion, and we saw One Shot ban the Lion on Villa. Why not ban it here where he is arguably just as, if not more powerful? But, Jonah, my concern with the Lion ban is, sure, DS loves Lion, but so does Swaylin. Swaylin plays a lot of Lion on this map. Now, he'll be on the Twitch, I guess, because of that. But now my concern is that while you're taking Lion away from those two players, we also see DS running the Zero a lot. DS likes Zero, especially on this map. So I don't know how much that Lion ban is really going to do. It could be more that One Shot are more comfortable dealing with that Zero than the Lion, but of course, we got to wait 6 rounds before we can see that. It's One Shot attacking first. Typically what people consider to be that advantageous side on Coastline. I guess we can kind of say, right, the 3 maps that we typically consider attacker-sided are Coastline, Chalet, previously Consulate, and now, Bank is starting to kind of fill in there as well. And it's going to actually be Kitchen first, not Hookah, with a pretty substantial upstairs hold from the defense.
Well, another interesting tidbit from our Coastline game just 2 days ago with Arial Arise was that actually it turned out to be quite defensive-sided. Arial struggled heavily on their attacks, found more rounds on defense than anything, and maybe they're actually happy about the situation they're in right now. Of course, we'll have to wait to see exactly how that comes to fruition, because One Shot already beginning this attack here in Hookah and already losing out in the opening engagement. Swaylin will return fire, though, taking down Wimpy, but a fantastic shot through the barricade from Gomez, giving him a double kill on the round and silencing Slippery for good. A 4v3 advantage for this Arial Arise defense after One Shot made maybe an ill-advised early push, but that aggression was matched by the defense in kind. Kento continuing that. Triple kill on the round, actually triple kill total, because Gomez with the assist in that endeavor will secure the triple kill for him, and that will secure an even further advantage of 4 versus 2 now for this defense.
Not only that, but even before the kill from Swaylin, look at the 2 operators One Shot traded. And a Rooney? Who cares? You got Sledge and Iana off the board. 2 massive utility picks on Coastline. 2 massive entry picks. You lose so many explosives. All the opportunity for vertical. And on Kitchen, we know how so important that is. And now Quartz attempting to solo through Mudroom. He is so lit up, staring down 2 of these defenders with Kilo off doing, I don't know, Kilo things, I guess. Being upstairs and not tag teaming with his teammate. They're each trying to make solo plays on really opposite sides of the building. Kilo has some tiny itty-bitty vertical holes, but his Quartz gets taken out for Gomez's quad kill. Things aren't looking so good. He'll be able to see one. Kento, unfortunately ignorant of the angle from upstairs, gets caught with his pants down. As Kilo is still fishing for picks through the floor, he'll end up tagging an alibi clone and giving his position away even further. Gomez, he's going to be hungry for that ace as a flash goes out, covering Kilo's retreat over towards White, I guess. No, he'll think better of it. Flashing White, dropping the hatch, looking for anyone to kill. The shots will reveal his position, but it's Beastly to steal the ace. He'll be the party pooper, and Arial Arise take round 1.
Party pooper indeed. Gomez with a fantastic quad kill, tearing that attack apart. on the top floor. But what was so interesting about that round as a whole is we saw what the majority of the engagements occur in hookah and billiards. Another bomb site that was not selected by Arial Arise just then. That was a kitchen defense. Took me a few seconds to really figure out what the heck was going on, because One Shot were pushing into a heavy upstairs hold by Arial Arise, and they did not give it up easy. More than that, I mean, winning tremendously on that extension. Gomez taking care of business over on the Aqua side of things, taking care of those players on the Aqua balcony rappel, and of course, locking down on the hookah side too. It really was a clean extension, and seeing how well that initial, quote unquote, defensive hookah and billiards went, it only makes sense for Arial to head there for their actual site choice this time. After that first success, makes perfect sense to continue that, working a similar strategy on a similar site.
Yeah, the other thing too, Jonah, that, I mean, and we just saw shades of it. We were talking about, the analyst desk. You and I were talking about, two teams like this that play the way they do. Arial are going to have the advantage on Coastline. I guess I should elaborate on that. The biggest thing in my mind when I talk about that is how Arial played on Bank. You remember that?
Yeah.
If they can do it on Bank, I mean, I am scared of what they're capable of on Coastline now. And now that they've kind of figured out what they need to do. I mean, again, that map against Nocturnes, Gomez said it himself, it was more like a warm-up. They took the next two maps in stride, and now they've already got Villa in their back pocket. You can tell they're warmed up. My God, Gomez running roughshot around the map. Hopefully One Shot have a solid answer. Now that they can expect that uber-aggressive, hyper-aggressive play from Arial Arise, we'll see if they're able to catch it.
Only time will tell here, especially for Quartz, as he is the solo entry actually in kitchen right now. A little bit of spray from, I believe that was Wimpy above. Won't catch him out. He'll stay safe for the time being, as will Slippery, who will join his teammate on that initial kitchen entry. But by these players pushing in below, you can see that One Shot are trying to work some vertical play going for them rather than working for the defense. They're trying to work their way below, maybe pressure out these pink bar players, get a couple of nade kills while they're at it. They do have 4 of those frag grenades to work with, combined with Storm's Sledge and Slippery's Iana. You've got so much explosive potential. It's just about figuring out where these defenders are positioned, getting some intel to aid you in hunting for those frags. Now, Diaz is going to take a lot of damage. I believe that was his long angle fight over from that hookah balcony that he will actually lose out in the most part. He'll still be alive and still very eager to continue to challenge these attackers as they work their way in. But once again, One Shot have not done very much on this clear. Yes, they've got first floor control, but we haven't seen any nades coming up towards the ceiling, getting any kills just yet. And only now are we seeing some sort of rotation over towards this Aqua side, building up for an eventual execute.
Finally, we'll hear a nade from Storms, though I don't believe it'll catch anyone. Ento will be droned out, so now they know he's over towards top white. They'll likely be careful of that luggage window. You can see Kilo staring it down fervently. As Storms and Slip converge on these white stairs, looking to take this duo push against the Jaeger of Kento, but they're going to have to do it soon. There's only 45 seconds remaining, Jonah, and Kento's even got to rotate for himself. He's now watching the head angle on white stairs, but Slip is very nervous about it. Wimpy, though, taken down by the nade as Quartz is put on the floor, means it's a one-man advantage here for the attackers. One Shot now looking again up white stairs. Storms gets a second, and Kento whiffs on Slip. It's Beastly and DS, 2 versus 5. Plant going down. No C4 opportunity because of the window cover, and it's flawless from One Shot to even the score.
Well, that nearly got out of hand, but they held their own and really made it happen, taking their time, their sweet time. That was a very, very patient attack, but they learned from that previous round perfectly. Harrison, you highlighted as we were coming into round number 2, now that One Shot know what kind of aggression to expect, they know exactly how to counter it. And they did that, I mean, to a T. They expected Arial Arise to be in some more unorthodox positions, taking aggressive fights, and we saw that in most engagements, honestly, in that round. So once One Shot identified the position of those aggressive defenders, they put somebody watching that angle, just holding an angle and waiting for Arial Arise to swing. At that point, once they knew where those extended defenders were, they went for that execute, they pushed into that site, and getting that bomb down again with perfect coverage on the upside down rappel, getting a clean final kill. That was Quartz, of course, who got revived, and really capping off an excellent attack overall. We didn't see anything fancy, but more than that, it was refreshing to see One Shot win an attack in a more methodical, disciplined way. Up until now, the only attack they had won was the rush on Villa, and this attack, seeing a pretty default take, I think that bodes well for them in the future. They just got to allow themselves to continue with that playstyle and continue to destroy the aggression from Arial as best they can.
Yeah, now instead of being 1 for 6, they're 2 for 8. That's increased their odds to 25%. Look at that. Incredible work. But all joking aside, like you said, very well done by One Shot. Now it's going to be Arial's turn to adapt, right? Now that the aggression is no longer going to catch One Shot off guard, what do Arial do? Do they keep it up, playing smarter about their aggression? Or do they kind of peel back, allow One Shot to set up and play a more classical game of Siege? Well, Wimpy's not looking to give that up, taking a very slim angle. You can see Slip barely saw the head of the Melusi before he was shut down. It's an opening pick for Arial. No more Iana for the attack.
Yeah, without Slippery here, especially when dealing with, Beastly and on that Aruni, it's just so much more painful to clear out all that utility and deal with those gates, right? The Yana is a perfect first entry because that Gemini clone just gives you another free burn when you are going into a site and you have to push through those laser gates. So we're not going to see that come into play later. Instead, One Shot are going to have to just, use their flashes, use their nades as kind of what you'd expect more traditionally. But right now, not speaking of clearing utility, speaking of just opening up this map and getting ready to execute on this site, I mean, you've got this mudroom wall open, and in fact, you've got a push coming in right now. Now, Kilo is eating a space full of that smoke, and he will actually eventually get down, just barely being caught out by that. But Quartz will line up a double kill because Gomez, he's hopping over the sunrise bar for no reason. Storms as well will get a nice kill. It's going to be all up to Diaz now. He'll whip around, get a great headshot onto Swaylin, but he still has to find 2 more. And with a minute 10 to work with, Quartz has ample time and ample coverage to get this diffuser down. Storm's now trying to prevent Quartz, or Diaz rather, from going for any retake. No C4 either, not even attempted from Diaz, so he'll save that for the retake. Now he'll have to fight against 2 and only has 35 seconds to find both of these kills and get this diffuse off. It's unlikely, especially now with all of these nades flying towards him, the bullets as well, this time from Quartz, who finds a triple kill on the round and gets the plant down, really doing it all for his team and securing another one-shot attack.
I really gotta say, the positioning from Arial Arise, what was that? It seemed like the advantage was ever in their favor with the gas canisters coming out, the planter dying. Quartz had to rush in through the smoke to pick it up. There were only, about 2 people covering for the plant, but Arial Arise got pinched. Swaylin made his way into courtyard, had a crossfire down into sight. No one could really move. Gomez was jumping on top of the bar for whatever reason and just died to the cover. I don't know. Arial Arise, I mean, yes, it was hard for them to stay static, but the positions they moved to were questionable at best. Well done to One Shot. Unfortunate, too, that Diaz was kind of stuck there, not in a position to use his C4. And One Shot take the lead. The only convincing round we've seen from Arial was that first one. The others, they have either just not looked great or thrown the lead like that. But we are going to go back down to Kitchen. This is where they had originally started the map off with a win.
Yeah, now the only question that remains for me on this site is, are we going to see as heavy of a vertical extension? And I mean, it looks like the answer is yes. I mean, you've got these VIP walls reinforced. You've got more of those reinforcements dedicated towards hookah, a deployable shield towards that position as well. And now One Shot have to decide, do they want to go through probably the same trouble they had last time, clearing that top floor and taking those early engagements, or are they going to try for something a little bit more direct and aggressive? At least for now, Storms will begin this top floor clear. He'll open up this hookah door, and he'll begin contesting on that player behind the deployable shield. 2 players will be holding this crossfire, both above, who were, again, Gomez, who is lighting up these players last time will be looking to continue that success. But if One Shot can remedy their issues upstairs, this will be so much easier. And look at this, already making progress. Dealing with that deployable shield, those were my magnets not sufficient to stop that utility dump from coming through. And just like that, within 45 seconds, this top floor extension is now in jeopardy from Arial Arise because One Shot are starting this much, much stronger and a lot more cohesively than they did last time.
Yeah, already a big difference is the fact that Beastly's shield is gone, and now Beastly himself is dead. Quartz pushes right in and takes the head off the Wamai. Well, not really the head because it was a body shot, but he'll kill the Wamai. And Wimpy attempting to find a refrag, dead through the wall by Kilo, who actually, we didn't talk about this, is on Maverick on Coastline. That's a bit of an odd pick. He does have nades, so whatever. Gomez gets one, is traded off before Kento finds an answer, but it's still a 2 versus 3. Although the one thing going for the defense is the fact that Quartz is lit up. He's barely any HP remaining, just a couple bullets. 1 bullet from Jaeger, 1 to 2 from Kento will kill him. Well, look at the time. There's still a whole minute and 20 seconds remaining for One Shot to get something going, and their sledge is still alive, meaning they can play some adequate vert. It's going to be tough for Arial Arise now that One Shot aren't pressed to rush in.
Yeah, I think the play from Diaz and Kento here is going to be continue that aggressive play style and run around this map like crazy. Because right now, I mean, they aren't contesting the top floor, but you can see based on Kento's position we saw a moment ago and just now over in security, a little bit off-site, hoping to once again be that slight element of surprise and just win this round with sheer frag potential. It's going to be difficult because when One Shot turn their focus to the objective, it's going to be hard to out-frag them and outgun them. It'll get really tough, especially towards the last 15 seconds of this round, but all they can do is sit back and hope to catch One Shot off guard. Now, Slippery, after droning out the site, looks like he may want to make this jump in. Diaz actually forced back from Kitchen, but the nade from Storms will miss. Slippery, however, will be getting this plant down, and I don't see Diaz taking a step to stop it. A free plant for this attack. Now, Arial Arise, Diaz and Kento have to go for this retake. Oh. Great shot there onto Quartz, so that's a start, and now Kento will turn his attention towards the vertical play. Storms is the player to deal with, but he is not exactly over the diffuser. He's a little extended, which means Kento is going to have to go out of his way to find this kill. It's going to be very hard through the soft wall. The holes set up for the defense, working in favor of the attack right now. Kento losing out upstairs, meaning Diaz is going to have a very tough time to get this done. He'll touch the diffuser, only teasing it for now, but Storms from above will have no trouble at all, finishing him off, and One Shot 3 rounds in a row now on the attack.
Yeah, and that upstairs clear, extremely well executed, starting with the shield clear, taking advantage of the lack of position, moving into hookah, getting that frag. Arial Arise in their retake of the territory, I mean, they were able to get some trades back, but because One Shot were the ones with the opening kill, they ended up in the advantage. 3 versus 2, and One Shot played it perfectly. Arial Arise were much too far afield to deny the plant. The vertical play from Storms, perfect to keep the Jaeger at bay, and Kento was just way too far. And at that point, sure, you know, Quartz, the man inside of Sunrise, goes down, but the post plant played phenomenally by Slippery and Storms. I mean, there's really no fault in it. Storms played extremely passive. You could tell by the way he was playing, they had full intel on Kento's flank as well, and Storms played it as passive as possible. Even if he hadn't gotten the kill at that point, so much time was already wasted, and of course, Slip hiding behind the half wall. No chance in hell someone from Arial was going to kill him there. Well done. And now Arial, their only safe haven, the only site they've won, is now in the hands of the enemy as well. So where do they go? They're going to go back to hookah, and well, they didn't win here either, and it was not a pretty defense.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. I really do wish they, you know, were creative and maybe risky enough to go over to Penthouse and try out some sort of VIP hold. You know, Thatcher is off the board, and One Shot have been running the Maverick inconsistently. So bringing out the Kai and those Electric Claws could seriously make that a very, very powerful hold to bring out. But instead, of course, going for hookah and billiards once again. And it will, again, heavily depend on these entries and how quickly they will be able to identify where the one-shot clear is coming from and if they can actually get those kills as a result. Now, one-shot will be starting off the same way they did last time, with a clear from below, entering through kitchen service, and rolling their way through this map. Now, Wimpy is trying to contest that from above on the vertical angle. He'll take the brunt of a nade there, but he'll still very much be alive with about 40 HP to his name. So one shot on this clear, they haven't, gotten that kill, but they've certainly made a good bit of progress. And Quartz taking this position on the rappel again, this position he was able to find so many kills last time, looking to really mirror the success from their previous attempt.
And that window is such an important cutoff position for any hookah attack. It sees all the way down into the other bomb site. It can catch people rotating through the doorway, catch people rotating through the cool vibes hole. And getting someone off that window can be quite tricky for the defense. Quartz, of course, with that LMG is the perfect operator to hold it down. You've also got Storms below, just in case anyone from the defense decides to get cheeky with a C4. They'll likely get caught by that sledge, and he can even nade any anchors from the ground up. Arial Arise, though, they're staying stalwart in their positions, unmoving. They've even got, again, the extension horizontal by VIP and White. Beastly will be the one to eat a nade, but he's still just going to kind of chill there. But instead, Storm sees another player on the pings. He's going to attempt to nade, and it does not catch Wimpy. The ping was there, but he has already moved to the other side of the wall. But there's Storm's... What? Through the floor? Was there a hole there? Okay, it has to be that hole, right? There's no other way. I mean, absolutely beautiful onto Wimpy. There's the opening pick that one shot probably needed. And the gas canisters now have to come out. 45 seconds left. That's decently early. You've still got the Maestro Evil Eyes too, but Slip is now pressuring this smoke, and he's got to allocate the toxic gas canisters to do different positions and can no longer space them all apart. He'll go back down Cool Vibe stairs, use the last one on the blue staircase. Up comes the clone and the swing from Storms, but he's unsuccessful. Bit of an awkward gunfight, but Gomez is traded from the window of Quartz. Kilo, he'll be the next off the board before Slip finds the refrag. Diaz and Kento now stuck. -1 man. He's coming up. Cool Vibes, he catches the Iana. The plant attempt not going to be secured just yet. Quartz gets off of it to get the kill, and Diaz is in a 1 versus 2. He's got pings on one player. He knows the other is planting, but he can't win against Swaylin, and one shot extend their lead 4-1.
Certainly not the neat and tidy hookah and billiards attack that we described last time, but it got the job done at the end of the day. We saw a couple of messy gunfights, especially over towards Cool Vibe Stairs, where that push from below really
will be on Kitchen, the only site they have won. That was all the way back in round number 1. It's been 4 since then. They've tried it again once and were unsuccessful. And they'll switch it up, at least. Kento now on Mozzie, Diaz now on Oryx.
Yeah, pretty sizable switch here, and it looks like an aggressive one, right? I mean, you bring out the Mozzie, and that screams roam, extension, and gunfights. You bring out the Oryx, an operator that we actually have seen in the playoffs a couple times, but you rarely ever see otherwise. A very aggressive operator, designed to roam. It's built to roam. I mean, jumping up and down hatches, opening up additional rotation holes. That's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. I suspect that they're going to use this to hold vertical control for a little bit longer if they can, given how well that worked in the first round and how, one shot were able to remedy those issues in the 4th. So maybe that's the goal here for Arial Arise. But only we'll have to wait and see exactly how they bring this out. Right now, Diaz isn't even on that top floor. After all, both him and Kento remain in security, remain downstairs over towards that office hall. So we won't know exactly what their plan is, but one shot, they will be sticking with what they know. Last time, this clear went very, very well, and they'll be looking to do it again.
Yeah, Beastly's position was very quickly flushed out. There's no more Jaegers, so it's not like he has any added coverage. Only those Wamaya discs to his name. So hell, this shield, if there were ADSs there last time, could potentially fall even more easily. Now, Kilo is back on Maverick. Again, interesting choice to take him over the Hibana. But, I mean, if they want extra nades, they've got him. But Quartz moves in before the shield is cleared, and Gomez has the crossfire. I'm not quite sure what the decision was there for Quartz, and Wimpy frags another. Slippery now dead. Oh. Wow! Whew!
That's a shot and a half. That is a shot and a half from Wimpy. There is no question about that. But with a troubling outcome for one shot, it's just Kilo alone. And he's going to have to find 4 people. And they're all extended all over this map, and they are looking to hunt him down as well. They'll take down Beastly. That's a start. But now you got to find 3 more. 2 of whom remain extended in security or office. That's, again, Kento and Diaz, or Wimpy and Diaz, who really haven't moved since the very beginning of this round. And Kento, the only player not on that side of the map, will still be eluding capture. Kilo will attempt to maybe turn his eyes towards the site, maybe get objective focused here and use that to surprise the defense. But again, this one is going to be a tough one, to say the least. A minute to work with and 1 drone in play. That's something. You can use that to the best of his advantage, especially with only 1 player still on the site. He does not know where Kento is positioned, although he may think he does, trying to spray him down. But actually, with that nade marking his final piece of utility in pocket, now this has got even more difficult. 35 seconds left for him to make something happen.
And he's going to try and do it from Sunrise, where someone is waiting for him. Diaz gets the last kill. So, Arial Arise, turn on the burners for that last round. Whether it's too little too late remains to be seen. We got to see if they've fixed their attacks. But that round was really the Gomez and Wimpy show. Gomez, of course, getting the first on courts, attempting to crouch walk into hookah. That was odd. And then Wimpy, of course, 2 kills for him, not only on slip, but I mean, that one of the nastiest one-taps with the DMR I've ever seen. Absolutely sitting Swaylin down. So it's a 4-2 half, you know? That's fairly standard. You don't expect anything less from Coastline. But, I mean, we keep discussing it, right? We keep bringing it up. Last time Arial played this map, their attacks were not great. They were not good at all. They were questionable at best. And now, I mean, we're going to need to see them fix their issues. Otherwise, we're going to map 3 of Clubhouse, where One Shot have already beaten them prior.
Right, that map 3, if we get there, is a whole nother beast that both of these teams will have to tackle. But for now, like you said, Harrison, Arial Arise need to get a hold of these attacks. I don't know what the specific problem was on their end 2 days ago against Nocturnes, but it looked troubling to say the least. They would get in the building and start things out strong. Always getting the entry frag, or almost always getting that entry frag and taking early control, but then they would sit and wait around for something to happen. And Nocturnes, at least, didn't let that happen, and I doubt One Shot will either. It's going to be a question of, can Arial continue what success they generally have in the early round, and then use that to transition effectively to the late round and to that execute, because they seemed like they were stuck in the mud last time they were here, and they need to get out of that rut if they want to beat One Shot.
We need that decisiveness from Arial. We can't be seeing Stage 2 KCP all over again. The Thunderbird is an interesting pick for One Shot. She has pretty much completely replaced Doc. And she can increase the longevity of certain anchor positions, especially around shields or where explosives tend to come in. Also can help heal up roamers for when they fall back to the site. But one of those anchors, Kilo, playing behind the shield. Wow, that is an angle from Kento. Down goes your first player, and wait, Gomez is just going to walk right in. There's a player behind the cocktail bar, but no, Gomez doesn't look the right way, and wow, Court's a second before Wimpy trades slip. 3 versus 3, Arial Arise try for a fast play, but it doesn't work out, but they still find some of these kills. They've got a 1-man advantage now as Storms is off the board, and there's the nade from Kento, and despite the sticky middle, Arial Arise, they still pull it out in a very fast execute.
I suppose that's one way of getting around your mid-round problems. Just don't even have a mid-round. Just, as soon as you make your entry, don't stop. Continue pushing through the site. Momentum. Continue seeking those gunfights. And hey, it worked. So more power to them. They got aggressive. That was, I mean, it felt a lot like what we saw from One Shot on Villa with those just early rush executes. It paid off for them. Yes, it was messy. There were a couple of trades that favored One Shot in the middle of that round. But Arial, you know, they stuck with it. They just kept on going. They didn't slow down despite tying it, you know, at an even 3-3 man count. They continued that aggression, and it worked, dismantling the hookah and billiards defense from One Shot, and now maybe, at least if you're an Arial Arise fan, hopefully for you, switching the momentum around here and, you know, getting that confidence back, the confidence that when Arial Arise have with them, we know how dangerous they can be.
I'm really excited. You know how we saw Swaylin, typical flank watch on the Twitch? DS on the Twitch.
Yeah.
His Twitch is an operator that he's been rocking. He and Gomez have been rocking actually since T3. So this is kind of like this is almost nostalgic for me. I'm excited to see that. But yeah, like you said, if Arial are allowed to heat up, ooh, this could be troublesome. So they've already got one round. We need one more from them to tie up the score, and One Shot are obviously not looking to let that happen. It's going to be the double bar defense for them. Quartz, once again, absolutely heroic for his team. Both he and Quartz, or sorry, I already talked about Quartz. Both he and Storms, the two resident Frenchies of One Shot, putting up numbers 9-4, 8-4. And now, while that's all well and good for Quartz, and I'm very proud of him, like the analyst just said, he had the least amount of kills out of anyone in Group A. So if he's getting the frags, I mean, sure, he's playing great individually, but that means his fraggers are lacking. And if those fraggers stay asleep, and like we've talked about, Arial Arise heats up, they might start getting run over.
Wimpy looking to continue the success he found on that last round. A nade, his chosen vehicle of aggression towards Slippery. Slippery will back on off, avoiding that grenades down the white stairs, and he will have no trouble sneaking his way towards security. Now, this vertical control, clearly the intent of Arial Arise is to take it and hold it for as long as they can. After all, they're already beginning this vertical play thanks to Wimpy and his breaching hammer. In fact, already wasting or forcing Arial Arise to waste, or One Shot, excuse me, to waste a C4. We saw the explosion near to Wimpy, but not close enough to even do 1 HP worth of damage, and Storms will no longer have the only Nitro cell on this defensive lineup in pocket any longer. Instead, your plant denial is going to have to rely on these 3 toxic smokes from Quartz, who may be forced to use them a little bit earlier than he would like, especially now that he's on 1 HP, and the pressure from Arial Arise here in Mud is extremely aggressive. Kilo fighting 2 players at the moment, hoping that he can impact trick all those X-Kairos pellets away. Now that he's out of impacts, and the vertical play is getting a little bit too dominant for him to handle, he's going to have to fight his way out of this situation. He will do so on the first engagement, taking out the head of Beastly, now looking for one more.
Well done for Kilo. The aggressive stance looking to be the correct one, and Kento cannot find the trade. Of course, the position that the Wamai is in also cannot be seen from above, and there it is. Beautiful shots from the Wamai to give his team a massive advantage. 2 kills in a row with no response, and still, this shield is persisting. Kilo will continue to hold the angle, but he gets caught with a disc in his hand, and finally Gomez moves through to find the frag. Now looking to provide some destruction, but his impact will get caught by a disc. There's only 13 seconds, and here's the entry coming through. Gomez will need to cover the plant. That's a good pre-fire onto Swaylin. A second as well. Triple for Gomez, and the entire defense has fallen apart. It looks like Kilo was just the one linchpin they had, and now as the plant goes down, Slip is stuck, and Arial Arise even the score.
Okay, that came out of nowhere yet again. Arial, they did in fact struggle in the mid-round. It looked bad, to be completely fair. They could not deal with Kilo. They just could not deal with a default deployable shield held by 1 player. Yet, they decide to just throw caution to the wind and just force gunfights. I mean, you saw it with with Gomez on the Zofia LMG. He'll just run into Sunrise, hold left click, and take out multiple players while doing so, really opening up that round. And yes, the reason that Arial were able to take that round, because they let their gun skill shine. They will in fact equalize the score at 4-4 now, coming out of what looks like nowhere. These attacks that looked abysmal earlier and still don't look that great, they are still able to pull out these wins. And One Shot, they're giving Arial Arise a little bit too much of a cushion to work with. They maybe got a little bit too aggressive for their own good in those last few seconds, just did not realize how powerful Gomez would be as he made that Sunrise bar entry. So now both of these teams sit at a vital turning point in this map. Are we going to continue to see an attacker-sided Coastline with Arial getting this momentum and furthering this advantage and actually stretching out to their first lead of the map? Or are we going to see One Shot hold on to the lead they held just a few moments ago and try to stop this bleeding as much as they can?
Yeah, Arial Rise 2. Yeah, again, I don't know if I'd say they're confident attacks, but good recoveries at the very least in a row. And I mean, that kind of begs the question, right? If Arial Rise solidify their early round, what does that mean for One Shot? Because their recoveries have been on point. Are they going to be attacking onto Kitchen? In comes Kento already, burning that Aruni gate. And that's going to prompt Storms to try and start rotating back. A nade goes in, but that's enough to cover Kento's jump in. He's just going to walk right into the site, getting fired upon by multiple angles, but still getting the kill onto Kilo. There is going to be a trade, though, from Storms onto Wimpy, the second window player, and a gas canister goes out, I believe, choking Gomez just a bit. Kento, also, you can hear the Banshee screaming out his position as he holds onto these holes. A nade goes through to force the Aruni to back off, but not enough for it to be into the angle. But what just happened? Gomez and Diaz push through service on the opposite side while the defense is distracted. One frag will come through, though. Swaylin gets one back, but the plant is still completed by Beastly. What a fake out by Arial. Everyone going towards the window, forcing the defense to divert their attention as the rest push over towards service. Storms battling against the LMG long range will take a lot of damage, but he will finish the kill for his second. And now it's a 2v2. Equal man count. One player in bathroom, one still outside. Beastly has a very good angle, but Diaz getting a little bit aggressive. He cannot afford to lose this fight, but here comes the Aruni. Doesn't check the corner hard enough, and it's Sway in a 1v2. 10 seconds to do it. He'll get one down the Hibana, but no, he takes a little bit too much time to try and confirm the kill, and now he's just got to stick it, and here comes Diaz for the cleanup. Arial Arise round number 9, and they retake the lead they originally had after round number 1.
Arial Arise and this aggression, it is out of control, it is unmatched, and One Shot, they cannot hang with it. Simply put, Arial Arise are bringing out more aggression than ever, and they are using it to their advantage, and One Shot are just standing around and hoping for a different outcome. And that, of course, is not going to be a good solution, ever. And we saw it right again in round number 9. I mean, Arial Arise using that aggressive push early from Kento to isolate several of those defenders over in that 90 hall by Blue and Sunrise Bar. From there, continuing to isolate those players, sending out a couple of nades, using that distraction to then push in from service and get that bomb down. That is a textbook aggressive play if I've ever seen one. Working together as a team, and their timing as well was impeccable. Something you and I have talked a good bit about over these last few days, Harrison, is how difficult it is for teams to get their timing down. For teams, I mean, any team, even as good of a team as this, to get the timing perfect in a game like Siege. But another example of Arial Arise syncing up their watches and executing at the perfect moment when everyone on their team was ready, when they had forced One Shot back far enough, and when they were able to just close out the round with some pretty solid post-plant positions.
Yeah, I mean, it has been 3 rounds in a row, actually 4 in a row, from Arial. The timeout doing wonders for their game plan. I wonder if they maybe had a similar talk, right, on Bank, where they were losing. They're like, you know what? Typical Siege is not working. Let's break out the stops. Let's just play our game. Let's try and take these guys off guard. And it's worked 3 rounds in a row. 3, I mean, different ways, really. The first hook around, right? They just walk right into pool. They get the frags. They get the trades. Bars, sure, they have a poor opening, but Gomez takes it upon himself to just walk in and get 3 kills. Same thing with Kitchen. They run through the window, provide the distraction, hit the site from the back. The timing is so good. And now they lead. They'll be attacking on the bars once again. And I mean, they know about the position of Kilo this time. They know exactly how the Womai is going to hold, and they'll likely expect him to stay aggressive. And if they don't get caught off guard by that again, there's probably going to be a nade in Kilo's face, or at the very least, Arial won't be losing 2 early picks to it. So what does that mean for the rest of the round if they've been looking that dominant anyway?
Yeah, at least one would hope they figure out how to deal with Kilo. I mean, right now, they're still going to set that out as a task for a bit later. They're still focused on taking this top floor map control and clearing out from elsewhere. But another resounding explosion. In fact, 2 explosions will indicate to you that a Storms has already wasted his C4. The Cap can, another one of these more bizarre picks, but can find a good bit of success. And in fact, the Cap can is going to do 2 things. It takes 50 HP away from Wimpy, and it's going to down Kento. So Storms is doing his job to a T, even if his C4 couldn't connect. His EDDs have certainly done their job. Kento should be able to be picked back up on his feet here, but it's going to waste a good bit of time, and Arial, well, they're already losing a good bit of that. They, in fact, will get the opening duel going in their favor, taking care of Slippery, who really hasn't been able to show up at all this map. 3-8 right now, and he will remain 3-8 for the duration of this round, because now Arial Arise, with that first kill and with the top floor securely controlled, they will now turn their attention to this first floor and turn their attention to, once again, dealing with Kilo and dealing with these pesky defenders on the site.
It's a real shame about Slip and Swaylin as well, both underperforming despite being probably two of the best players in Challenger League that we've had through this stage so far. And Gomez through the hatch catches Quartz throwing the gas canister. No more delay there. They know Storms is off site as Swaylin attempts to retake upstairs. It's just Kilo down here, no longer with the position that he once had. Sorry, I thought I saw Swaylin's silhouette going upstairs, but I guess not. He's tucked over in blue bar. Storms gets the first kill for his team as Diaz is knocked off the board, but Beastly gets in amidst the gunfire for the plant. Kilo can't land at the impact, misses. Sure, Gomez goes down, but Kento gets a trade and the plant is completed. It's Kilo and Swaylin now alone against 2 because Gomez is on the floor. And at this point, probably not irrecoverable. He'll get picked up as Beastly, the planter from behind the bomb chassis, kills Swaylin's only teammate. He'll get the refrag, but the 2 attackers, they have vertical superiority, and one of them will start to rotate downstairs. Now, Swaylin knows he's going to have to start to stick this. Gomez and Wimpy, they've got to go for the rush right here, right now, but Swaylin's sticking it. He gets off for 1! But Gomez gets the trade just in time for Arial. The timing, again, working wonders. And they put themselves on map and match point.
4 rounds in a row that maybe started a little bit messy and a little bit unorthodox, but have since become a dominant force that One Shot are unable to counter. Another round where Arial didn't just go for a full send push. Yes, it was aggressive, but it was methodical. They took top floor control and they took their time while doing it. They cleared out those defenders upstairs, and yes, they got down by a cap can trap here and there, but we all make those mistakes now and again. They used that control to then dominate the defenders in Sunrise, forcing Kilo all the way back to the double door because he initially actually chose not to play on that shield again. Chose to play a lot more passive position. Not entirely sure why, and it ended up actually working in favor of Arial Arise because they didn't have that pesky player to deal with behind the shield. They could just push straight on into Mudroom, get the bomb down right away, and using the vertical control they had established in Hookah primarily to just deny any sort of retake. Again, it was a valiant effort, and One Shot had some success as the retake began, but under so much pressure and with so little time left, Arial Arise continue to win out in these post plants, and now, like you said, Harrison, they will move ahead to match point. Coming out of nowhere after a troubling half, they now come out on this second half and they make quite a statement. One Shot now need 2 rounds in a row to force overtime, and they have yet to win a single defensive round.
Yeah, I think we can say with 100% confidence that Arial Arise, they fixed their attacks from yesterday.
That's true.
They're looking, or sorry, actually not yesterday. They played on Friday.
2 days ago, yeah, Friday.
Yeah, but they fixed their attacks, and I mean, hey, they had a whole day to do it. So hats off to them for using their time wisely. And One Shot now on the back foot. We are back to Hookah, though. Jonah, we've got a little bit of a switch up. We have Pulse now for Swaylin, and while we have Pulse on Swaylin, we're not going to have Slippery. He goes for an early play, gets cut down. Wimpy with another, and things are falling apart for One Shot.
Very, very quickly, in fact, losing 2 players within 45 seconds. Yes, these 2 players are currently, your bottom frag, and they're not the ones that have been putting up impressive numbers, but you need them for this execute denial, and unfortunately it is going to continue to get worse. Quartz will get one, but quickly traded by Kento. That means it is Storms and Swaylin here to fend for themselves. Kento makes quick work of one, Diaz the other, and with that, Arial Arise take round 11, and they will punch their ticket to the grand finals, and they will send one shot down to face Parabellum in the lower bracket.
Jonah, they were down 1-4. 6 in a row.
Timeout
from
worked.
Arial Arise. The timeout, again, like I said, working wonders. I mean,